Hi, Ina. How are you doing today?
Hi, Ryan. Good. How are you?
Good. Welcome to Embracing Success. I've actually done multiple episodes on this now, and the reason why I brought you in is to kind of demonstrate and discuss how you're finding success in today's market in the real estate industry. Now, different from the other guests that I've had, you work on the new construction side, right? Which I don't think a lot of people really understand, other than they think that you're there to just, take all their money and make a sale, but it's completely different than that.
Well,
So,
thank you. That's quite an introduction. I'm just there to take the money.
yeah.
There's so much more to it.
So first and foremost, I kind of want to go back in time to what brought you to where you are today, right? So you're not from the US, you are from Ukraine.
I am from Ukraine.
Okay. And when did you move here?
So, Cinco de Mayo 2008. That's when I landed in New York, having
Shouldn't you have
200.
gone to Mexico first before New York to
I
celebrate
left
Cinco de
to.
Mayo?
It was straight from Kiev to New York. Yes.
Okay. And do you have family still back in Ukraine, or is everybody pretty much here now?
My immediate family is in Ukraine. However, I have a family all over the world. I have family in a few states, some in Europe, even in Australia, very remote family.
I gotcha. Do you still keep in touch with the family members over in Ukraine? Are they all right with everything going on?
They
Because
are.
it is crazy.
Yeah, they are.
Um, So what how did you end up in the United States?
Quite a story. So I was 22. I was still in college. My major was languages. I was studying English, French, German, Latin. I downsized to only three languages at this point.
That's it?
That's it. And so this program, I came across this program that I could come here and for a year be a student here also and babysit. So that's your job and that's your school, all wrapped up in one program. And I ended up in the States 3 months later after filling out an application. It was a random thing. Never planned on coming here, but
Wow, that's crazy. And do you like it so far?
I do. Took me a minute to adjust because when I moved here, I didn't really have anybody to come to. It
Yeah.
was just me, $200, one-way ticket. Didn't have money for a return ticket either, and my English wasn't great whatsoever.
So when I was in high school, my sister was in band and they used to do these foreign exchange students. I think it was from like
That's what I did.
England pretty much, and they would come over here. I don't remember because I was young, but basically someone would come live with us for like
A month
a month, I think.
should be a year, I think.
No,
Was a
this
year
was just a
minimum.
month, I feel like. I don't
Okay,
maybe it
well,
was a
it was a
year.
little bit different. It was a year.
Okay. And you just moved in with a random person, right? Like, that's gotta be
Well, you
pretty
don't know your
crazy.
host family. All
Yeah.
you have is a little communication online.
Uh-huh.
They have to register. You register a company connects you to, and they pay you to fly here, and they host you for a year,
Wow.
and you go to school
Do
for
they
for a little bit.
do they pay you to babysit on top of that? Do you get, like, a weekly wage or no?
They do, but back then, so imagine 2008, right? I was making $200 a week. It was a bank.
There you go, rolling. Um, and so that was your first job here in the States, right? And was that in Florida or where was that?
That was in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
I lived in 7 states. Florida is number seven. I hope I don't move again.
What's your favorite state that you've lived so far?
So the last two, California and Florida, are my favorite states. And I want to say I love Florida more than California. I mean, politically, obviously, we're not going to go into that. But I'm a beach girl.
Yeah.
Beach is heaven. So that's what we have here.
Yeah, I moved out to Dallas, 3 years ago, like 2019, and I didn't realize I was born in Michigan, but coming to Florida, I took for granted being near the beach. And when I lived just outside of Dallas, I realized that for me to go back to the beach, I had to get on a plane, take time off of work, get a hotel, and it was fly across the country, just to go see something that I was used to doing on a daily basis. So it's kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, and how did you go from being I guess an exchange
Student,
student to a
yes.
degree into real estate?
Oh my gosh, so many things happen in between. So I was babysitting for a few months, maybe 4 months or so. And I knew, well, that's not going to be my future. There's more to it, right? And I was a college student, 4 year school in Ukraine. It was one of the best schools actually in Ukraine to study foreign languages.
Mhm.
So I kind of had the standard already. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna babysit forever. This is great, but what's next for me, right? And I realized here that, well, I gotta pick my path. Foreign languages, especially English, was my first language, first
Mhm.
foreign language to master. I thought like I'm not gonna impress anybody with my English here. To this day, probably I'm not impressive with my English, but um, I realized I had to pick a path. So it's not gonna be languages, what it will be. And what does a typical child do? Like, kind of look at parents. So my mom's a nurse. My dad was doing exterior design, residential
Mhm.
exterior design, and I've discovered this skill that I am really good in drafting, and I went to school for it. So interior design, architecture. I took my a dual major, and I also, well, since I'm an immigrant, and the other across the ocean, that side of the world, especially in Ukraine, credit is not countries just operate in different ways. So it's not about getting a mortgage.
Mhm.
My parents couldn't educate me on that. So I didn't come with this knowledge, right? And I wanted to know for myself what is it to, I mean, I wanted to be financially literate. I wanted to know for myself without asking for help, without asking people's opinions. What does it take to buy a home? What is it buying a home? In all this real estate industry, actually, I wanted to know firsthand what's the best way to know you go and work in one.
So I have a question. What is it? Do a lot of people purchase their homes over in Ukraine, or is it pretty much rentals owned by someone else, or how does it work over there?
So I'll be honest with you, in America, we're way more advanced in mortgages. And in Ukraine, my parents built their home. They
Okay.
never knew what that is. They never knew what mortgage is. So it's hard to relate. It's hard for my mom to even tell me what's the best thing to do.
Hmm.
So I figured that out in my early 20s. Like, okay, it's just me. I have to learn this thing. And so desire to know how that works to this day is my drive. So I always have this hunger for knowledge. How does it work? What's the best route? What are the ways in real estate? How do I win the most?
Hmm.
And it's nice when you can bring this knowledge into the picture with your buyers, clients.
Yeah.
Share that has so much value.
So do they just acquire land and then build the home themselves, or do they hire like a contracting crew? Because you said that they didn't pull a mortgage on it, so I'm very curious about that.
Everything was handmade. Like,
Really?
they built it. Literally, my grandpa, so my grandma sponsored it. She had money. And my grandpa on the other side, like on my mom's side, he was already in the business. He was a builder.
Wow.
So they built the home, my dad and everybody got together and they built it in 1 year.
So in order to own a home there, you had to be a full cash buyer for the most part.
Actually not right now. So my brother was recently buying a home, and with the new construction, and I'll tell you how that works. It's quite a shocker for me how that works. So with the new construction, you can get a mortgage.
Okay.
With the resale, way harder. I'm hearing from from my siblings that rates are way higher. So then they're not. They, like, my brother would never consider resale, so it was new was the way to go. And so how they built, actually, that I told you was gonna blow, and that blew my mind when I found out. So we here in America, we build and home is finished, and then we close on a home, on a finished home.
Hmm.
So home will have walls, windows, doors, like it's common sense for us, right? It
Sure.
will be painted. It will be everything's working. Electricity is there. Plumb, like, water's running. There's no way something can be unfinished. You have to get a CO,
Hmm.
certificate of occupancy. Well, that's not the case in Ukraine. Just real life. What my brother was buying was just, it's just bricks. Like,
Wow.
there is no, it's just bricks. You take it from there. They sell you
And a
that.
dishwasher is kind of a luxury over in Europe, right?
Not, I wouldn't say it's a luxury, but older generation, like my mom, refuses to use it.
Yeah.
She, like, I don't know how to click that button. So no, she's used to hand washing.
That's
To this
crazy.
day, I do the same thing. Believe it or not,
Use
I
your
hand wash
dishwasher.
my dishes.
Living in the Stone Ages.
Not really. Well, it's just me. I have two dishes. What's to run a dishwasher
I don't
for?
know. Maybe I'm just a lazy American, but I love my dishwasher.
So you load it once a week?
Yeah, until it starts to smell, then I hit the wrong button, and then we're good to go.
See, I do it every day. Like, I can't have
Yeah.
dishes in my sink or anywhere.
Yeah. Um, so you came into real estate, right? Uh, you kind of found a path for it. How long have you been doing real estate for?
It's going to be 5 years now.
5 years.
It was 2.5 years in California, 2.5 years here.
Yeah. And what a lot of people don't understand, I did real estate for a year in 2018 for 1 year.
Okay.
And what people don't understand is that there's a resale side and a new construction side. You can't do both. You have to hang your license either with a broker or with a contractor or builder
Yeah.
to do that.
It's
But
conflict of interest.
yeah, you said that originally you did it on the resale side, right? So on the private side.
I've done both.
But you started out on the private side, right?
I started with a private builder.
Oh,
I
okay.
got invited into new home sales. I was still working in the insurance industry. I was an insurance agent. I was selling PNC insurance, and my own. One day, I'm picking up the phone, and my own customer mm, hired me basically on the phone. Long story short. So as I'm trying to sell him a rental policy, he called, and it was actually a service call. That's what I thought. And I was already doing sales only, so I wouldn't pick up any service calls. But I picked up the phone, like, I'll do it. And so he's listening to me on the phone. He's giving me what he wants to do, and I hear this. Okay, he needs a different policy. I figure out what he's saying. He just doesn't understand. So I educated him a little bit, got him a rental policy, switched it up on his accounts, and at the end he says, "You know what? You're so good at this. Come work for me."
Hmm.
I'm like, I've had all kinds of offers, but never got hired basically on the phone on a recorded line.
Yeah, that's funny.
I had to break the call so my boss at that point wouldn't listen to this because I'm literally getting a job. And but I didn't know what he meant. I didn't know where he wanted me to go work where. And he says, come sell homes,
Hmm.
which was at that point was already like in a dream bucket for me because I already had school behind my back. I already had this desire to know real estate, but I wasn't. I'll tell you this. I realized I'm not strong enough to do real estate. Obviously, I'm doing insurance. Don't have enough knowledge, and I don't have anybody to kind of grab me by hand and walk me through the new industry. And so I was very good in insurance. I was comfortable. I knew what I was doing. I was already in management. So that worked so well. And here comes the offer. And all this desire, my real estate. Oh my gosh, that's my dream. Let me check this out. It's like everything got rekindled again. And so we continued the conversation, and he was a sales manager at one private builder in California.
Okay.
And so he's like, "Go get your license." And I told him, like, "I don't know anything about homes." He's like, "You know how to sell. We can do the rest.
Yeah.
You'll learn how to do the
The
rest.
hardest
Like,
part is
you
selling.
know how to
Nothing
talk to
else.
people." And it's not about selling, just push something on someone. It's not about that. How I sold him insurance policy was, well, I figured out what he needed. I don't need to sell you policy. You need this. I'm just going to help you and tell you how it works. You tell me if you want to get it. Well, I know your needs.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, 6 months later, I got licensed. I switched the job, and I was so happy. It was one of the best decisions I've done in my life. I didn't see that coming, but I'm so happy I'm in real estate.
I think you made a great choice. Insurance right now is something else.
Yes.
So yeah,
Well,
I
it's
think you made a
crazy.
great thing. And in addition to that, I see new construction as being the spot to be in the real estate industry right now versus resale. And maybe a lot of my fellow agents will disagree with me on that, but you guys are able to offer incentives and everything else that can't really be competed with. Like right now, so you work for David Weekly, right? And you are primarily in St. Pete. That's where your
That's where my
communities are.
clients are, communities are, yes.
Okay. And you were telling me some crazy incentives that you're offering. Would you like to explain a little bit more about that?
So we're jumping straight into incentives. We're gonna talk about what I sell later, right? Okay. So, well, um, this is the rare case what I have right now. I mean it. It's rare because with a high-end builder, it's not about bargain.
Hmm.
That's just not the scenario. When you have a luxury product, um, it's worth every penny.
Yeah.
So dropping price is not something that you do every day. But when you have a brand new community, there is an incentive to hop on those sales, hop on those homes. Did I say it right? Jump on those homes?
Hop, jump, same thing.
English. um, Early, you want to do it early, and you have the most opportunity to grow that equity.
Hmm.
That can happen when communities closing down. There may be some bigger incentives, and that's just generic, I would say. There's just very generic between the builders. There is such thing as incentives, like pre-sales, and when community is closing down, or some home just wouldn't sell for XYZ reason.
Yeah.
But there is a home for everybody, 100%. And maybe that home is still waiting for that perfect buyer,
Yep.
or that buyer is still waiting for that perfect home. And that's exactly what they've been looking for.
Yep.
And you may catch those bigger incentives. And I even made one reel on my Instagram. Did you want you sometimes you want to look for those, because that would be that one of a kind situation that you just got the jackpot.
Yeah, I mean, right now you're offering enough builder credit or seller paid credit to almost buy the rate down 2% on a 30-year fixed interest rate, which is pretty substantial. I mean,
Hmm.
most people talk about where they want to be on an interest rates, and you're given the ability to do that. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about your community. You're downtown St. Pete, right? St. Petersburg.
Around Central, so
Y-
Kenwood area.
And you have two separate communities that you.
Two communities and historic Kenwood.
Okay. What's the difference between the two, like one versus the other?
Location. So if you imagine US 19 to 75,
Hmm.
those two parallel, right? And then you imagine Central, and you have first north, second north, go up to 9. So that's your square. That's the border of historic Kenwood. So that's where we got land, and we're building those two communities. One, here's the difference between them, financially, and I guess maybe preference. So it depends.
Proximity to the city, to
Proximity to
downtown.
not necessarily to downtown, which there is a little bit to that too, but proximity to Central itself, because they both, one is 5 blocks off of Central, one is only one.
Okay,
It's on First, so everything's walking, and you have all the restaurants in your backyard basically.
sure.
So comps there are going to be higher, no matter how you look at it. Comps are higher because you're super close to Central, and the further you go from Central, that you may be a little bit paying tiny bit less. You can be saving a little bit of money. So it depends on your preference. Do you want those restaurants? You want to basically look at them? Yes, you're there. Or do you want it a little bit more quiet, and you
Yeah.
don't need to be in the very thick of it? Um, it's purely preference.
Yeah, I lived off Central, kind of by Ferg's, sports bar and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And I walked everywhere. I think I put like less, well, I know that I put less than like 4,000 miles on my vehicle for the whole year because my office, I opened up a mortgage office right down the street,
Hmm.
and it was walking distance. So, yeah, I used to live downtown, and it was, it was very convenient. I really enjoyed it. It ultimately depends on your lifestyle, right? Like
It
if you're a
does.
city goer, you definitely want to be in the heat of things, or if you like going out to eat all the time. Like I don't think I ever cooked because I had restaurants right across the street.
It's too tempting too.
Now I live downtown in the city, and even when I'm too lazy, I order Uber Eats, which is a dangerous company. They
See the habits you have
make me
now?
so lazy. So working on that, but it's all right. Um, so being on, do you, everybody has a crazy story. Have you ever had a crazy story? Like, was it on the residential or commercial side of real estate?
I've only done residential, and I do have some
Or I'm sorry, not residential. I mean on the private side of the residential.
resale or
Yeah, correct.
resale or new homes. So, well, every what do you say? Like every, I don't want to call it transaction because there is a life behind that, right? But every scenario, put it that way, every sale does have a story. But I do have a couple that to this day I'm like, oh my gosh, how did we pull that off? So I remember one. It's just a little moment in life in California. So, and that's with my first builder. So I'm coming. I think it was Sunday, and I'm coming to work. I'm pulling up to my community to the model home, and I see something at my door. And I'm still in a car. I haven't come close enough. And then I'm getting closer, and I see, oh shoot, that's a person. And right away, homeless person. I'm thinking homeless person. And then I'm coming closer, and I see how they're laying. For a first woman, they're laying like facing the door, sleeping, butt out and butt naked, hands down to her knees. And I'm looking like, is that really she naked? Like,
Oh no.
and it's Sunday. People are everywhere. And I'm
This is
thinking,
during
oh
the
my
day,
gosh, during
I'm assuming.
daytime.
Yeah.
And she slept in, obviously, because
Yeah.
we start Sunday at noon. So how long you been laying here? And first thing I'm thinking, okay, Um, well, pants down. I don't know what's her condition. I'm scared to come over. I'm like, there is no way I'm touching her. I just don't know, right? And so first thing, what do I call 911 or I call my partner? So I'm calling my partner and I'm telling her, hey, so there is a homeless female. Oh, well, I said there is a bomb, okay? And at the door, and I can't get in because she's at the door. I can't open the door. There's no way to get out.
Yeah.
There's no other back door,
She was
hybrid
standing up,
door.
laying against it, or just
She was
laying at the
sleeping.
doorstep?
So this is the door, and she's sleeping like this, facing the door. So I can't open the door because she's on my way. I have. There's no way. She's like tight to the door, right?
Oh,
And
no.
there's no garage I can go in. Like it's just one door that I can get in the model and open my community. And she's right there. And so, well, I don't want to call 911. I call my partner first. She's like, I'm coming over. She had no fear. She's a strong woman. She had blankets with her, toothbrush, toothpaste, everything for this homeless lady. She came over. She woke her up. I'm like, I'm not coming close because, okay, I'm 110 pounds. That lady was bigger than me, the homeless lady. So I just don't know what to expect. So my partner took care of it all. She woke her up, got her sitting. They got her pants up, and we kind of removed her from property and I could start my day. And well, obviously, California, you have a little bit of that homeless situation. So
What part of
that's good.
California was this?
Sacramento.
Okay.
Yeah. Here in Florida, the story. Well, this is the story. This is the story with the buyer, and so that's with the previous builder. So we had these buy down of not the buy down. It was a buyer forward commitment
Mhm.
BFC when the builder buys the rate down.
Correct, they buy blocks to as
Mhm.
in a forward
30-year
commitment.
fixed,
Yep,
and it
we did
lasts
those.
only so long, and one day can be the last day, next day the rates go up, right? So the buyer has to catch that day, and it has to be written that day, contract has to be written that day. So I have this buyer with the realtor coming, and it's Sunday. It's the last day of this BFC effective. Next day it's gonna go up, but back then we were trying to lock 4.99. 4.99, I believe.
I remember when I used to tell people that afraid to tell people that was the rate, and now it's like, "Man, I wish," but we'll get there.
Yeah. So I have this BFC. It's the last day we have it. We have to write something today. And I have this realtor and buyer coming over, looking at the home. We picked the home. We love it all. It's 4 p.m., however. They came at 4 or a little after 4. So we only have so many hours and we close at 6. Not that I will go home. I'll do whatever we have
Sure.
to do. And so we're trying to get the prequal. She needs a co-signer. We're trying to get her parents. They're in New York. Parents are in like their 70s. They don't speak English. Spanish only. When I say French, Spanish only. They don't know how to go and fill out an app. She's trying to figure out through the email. They don't know how to open their own email. And it's like time goes by. I have a lender on the outside waiting for the app to come through. We kind of stuck. And that was so we're trying to figure all this at the model, but we had the water wasn't like we still had some to get in the model and it was brand new community, so we actually have a porta potty outside, so we
Mhm.
don't have bathrooms. Well, the buyer comes with 3 little kids. They need number two, so she's one hand on the phone with parents in Spanish trying to get them through the app that they have no idea how to go through. The other hand, wet wipes and 3 kids
Oh, no.
asking for help. So I'm seeing how she's juggling. I'm like sweating bullets because we need to submit an app. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. We have to write today. I have to actually report the contract also on the same day. And to report it takes another 30 minutes.
Mhm.
The realtor is like, oh my gosh, how are we going to pull this? I'm like, I don't know. And so we hungry. She's going to get some food at McDonald's, which is one way, 20 minutes because nothing's close. That was in a very deep suburbs. So even the closest store is super far away. It was the best McDonald's I've ever had, probably, because we were all hungry. And so 7 p.m. goes by. We don't have a prequel yet. 8 p.m. We don't have a prequel yet. 9 p.m. We don't have a prequel yet. 10 p.m. and 4 applications later, 4 applications to get the prequel done. The lender was filling out an application on our behalf because we couldn't get through a language barrier and they don't know how to use technology and to just
Yeah,
upload things.
I've
So
I've done that a lot. When they can't figure out how to do it online, I'm like, "Let me just do a verbal application with you on the phone, and then we'll go ahead and do it." The problem is getting them to DocuSign everything once you get that
exactly.
application.
That was so hard. It was just, I'm like, how am I gonna do this? I have no idea. I'm sitting with you guys. I will sit overnight if I have to. I'm like, hope I don't have to. So I reported the sale at 11:40 p.m. Management was not even there.
Yeah,
There
and you
was nobody to approve my sale. I'm
close at
just
12.
yeah, and I went home past midnight. It was the latest I've ever had to work on a sale.
Yep. One thing about sales that people don't realize is that it's not a 9 to 5 job. Like
It's not.
you go when it is. I mean, I'm sure most of your business is over the weekends and you kind of in later in the day even. It's very rare that someone comes in at 9 p.m. and like, "Hey, I'm ready to buy a house." You know, or 9 a.m., sorry.
Yeah, you don't even own your time. So many cases.
So what does your daily routine look like? Like cuz most people that find success in any field structure their day, right? Do you kind of have a routine that you do or like how you your workflow is as far as networking and prospecting and so forth like that?
Daily day to day may differ. Like one day I may be focused on networking a lot and have like yesterday I had a presentation in the morning. I can do that on Wednesday because I have my partner in the community. He
Hmm.
can handle the community while I'm away in the morning and visiting realtors offices. So that's one day. Next day I may be focused more on follow ups and sending emails out and doing all the office work. But there are some things that just have to be done daily. Like daily, I have to make sure my community looks great, my model looks great, clean, nice.
Sure.
Um, Especially when you have some construction that still needs to be done. Like yesterday, we were installing shelves, and I still had guys coming in and out, so paint may be there or some cleaning needs to be done. So of course, you always want to have your model look the best.
Yeah.
And corporate. I don't want to call it corporate stuff because we are such a good company. Like it feels like a family, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So that every day I have to watch the email, see what's coming through, maybe supplies that we need to order, or we need to update our MLS, and we need to see what's on the website.
I was gonna ask. A lot of new construction, they just put like renderings of photos, right? Of what their construction to be completed will look like. It looks like a render. Do you guys actually post? I guess you would post just your completed projects or completed inventory on the MLS, right? Or do you post everything?
We don't. So we have there is a reason behind that. So we have right now between the two communities, we have 86 townhomes. It's a
Hmm.
lot.
A
We're
lot.
not gonna flood MLS like that. There is no need for it. And in each community, we list two on MLS, and that gives you like a starting point. We list those just to give people ideas what they look like. And then you come over and you discover the rest. We can't post on MLS everything. And like for example, incentives may vary.
Sure, from
Time.
property to property, depending on
Hmm.
its
It
location.
varies. Just depends. Yeah, I'm gonna get incentive. For example, today I'm gonna get something new. We're not gonna post every single little news on MLS, right? We
Hmm.
have the listing, and that's what people see. That you like what you see. Come over. We talk about the rest.
Yeah, I think it's very important. As you know, uh, I came to your site, right, for your grand opening,
Hmm.
because I feel that I have a due diligence to know the market just as much as a real estate agent. There's a lot of times that I have personally told I never tell the buyer because that's out of my scope of work and not really my lane to be in, but I'll be like, hey, this is what this buyer told me, and it sounds like told you what they're looking for. Like, you should check out this community. So I think that it's very important for a real estate agent to be touring models that are coming new to market, such as yours, or other new construction properties. So that way they have a complete understanding. Because again, builders, and we'll go into it later with the NAR settlement, but builders are able to give out incentives that you don't see otherwise on the resale market side.
That's true, and I would encourage all realtors actually know your market, know your new home market. Talking about NAR, yeah, we're gonna touch on that. There is a reason, big incentives for realtors to know
Yeah.
new home sales market, and even to understand how construction works, how new homes, the process, and what it takes, what is realtors' duties in this
Yeah,
process,
yeah,
and
because they
what
don't
is
do
not
anything.
their duty.
When I did real estate, I did do one property. It was with Lennar. Uh, but anyway, I literally just walked the person in,
And you
told them my
left them
name.
there,
I think I signed in on a sheet,
and you left them
and
there.
then that was it. And like 6 months later, I got a check. One more thing that I don't think a lot of sale agents have worked with new construction. So what would you kind of uh, educate them with what it is to work with, a new construction sales agent? Like, what do you kind of do? How's that workflow go, and so forth?
So I do a lot of offsite presentations and I share with them our process and the construction process, how the entire transaction can go through smoothly.
Hmm.
So I start very early with them and I love doing that because I personally, when I was a realtor, like I love that. This is something new for me. It only makes you more confident and that knowledge is very valuable. It makes you great as a professional, as a realtor. So what I'm sharing with people, I believe has a lot of value. And we love realtors. We pay them well. I welcome them
Yeah,
all. We
you give
do
incentives and
yes.
stuff like that. So bonuses or rather, but
Hmm.
yeah, you're there to compliment. Like, there's a little bit of negotiation up front, which they're used to, but after that, you're just a supporting role to help them get through the process and make it as simple as possible for them. So,
Yeah. And when realtors know are more familiar with our process, oh my gosh, it's such a great partnership.
yeah,
So I would take it all day
perfect.
long. Yep.
What do you think your hardest, or what do you think the biggest objectives are for you to overcome as a new construction sales agent?
Biggest objectives would be when somebody comes with certain thoughts. Um, let's say they heard some information here and there. It may be false. It may be not what actually the reality is because they heard and it's
Mhm.
fear driven. And they come to me and I'm the first person they're gonna hear something else from. They're gonna hear the
You're talking about like having a softening market or something like that.
for example, yes, oh, I'm scared because XYZ. uh, I can tell they want to buy, but they're scared and they give me all these fears, but they hold on to these fears more than desire to actually have a home.
Sure.
Yet they're shopping.
Yeah.
So that's hard if they've never heard what I tell them. Obviously, I have to tell them the truth. I have to tell them what I see as a professional
Mm.
on the market, and I want to share my thoughts with them too. And when the person's not open to it, it's hard to overcome.
Yeah, and I get that same objection too, right? And the hardest thing to do is the people that they're taking advice from, they're not, because you and I are both in the industry and we barely have an understanding of it to a degree, like, but we only see
Because
it
nobody has a
because
crystal ball. Yeah,
we
it's
deal
hard
with
to
it
see the
day in and
future.
day out. But someone, if you have family members, like I have family in Michigan,
Hmm.
right? Outside of Detroit, if they tell me that it's not a good market, well, they have absolutely no idea that Tampa is one of the number one growing cities in the nation versus Michigan.
Versus Michigan.
And maybe there's a pullback, maybe, but if there is, as soon as that rate comes down, which right now all the Fed wants to see is just they want to see more people be unemployed. As sad as that is to say, they want to see the unemployment break, more people lose their jobs, and see more filings for unemployment, and then at that point is when they're going to drop the interest rates, which we're supposed to have at least one rate cut this year, but we'll see. So I expect with the election and stuff too, someone's going to want to act like they made some magic happen and like saying, "Look, I brought the rates down and got inflation under control," but time will tell.
If it happens, we'll take
I'll be
advantage of
happy. Let's
it.
start
Yeah.
cutting them. So the last point that I really want to touch upon, which was huge news the past few months, is the NAR settlement, which is the National Association of Realtors. Right, there was um, a huge lawsuit. I think it was Keller Williams that was the
Was it
initial.
comments?
I think so. Was the initial um, defense
Hmm.
um, for things that had happened, and it's been a standard forever that buyers or sellers pay the buyer's agent fee, right? So, for example, if you're a buyer's agent, I'm a buyer's agent, you're a seller's agent on
Hmm.
the resale side, you would typically pay me my commission, and that would be built into the price of the sale of the home. Well, now with this new NAR settlement, which takes effect July 1st, so it's like a week away, the seller's agent, or I'm sorry, the seller no longer has to pay the buyer's agent fee, which is traditionally 3%. Um,
Or
and they
two.
or two. It's
Or one.
negotiable, but
Yeah.
it no longer they don't even have to indicate. So now buyer's agents now need, as a buyer's agent, you now need to have a buyer's contract that they have to do up front saying that, like, regardless of if I can negotiate this or not, I need to make sure that I receive XYZ fee
Hmm.
from you. So that's either going to come out of their pocket or potentially can be negotiated. But it's a new
It's unknown.
lane
It's
that they
new.
have to navigate. Correct. Yeah.
Mhm.
But builder side, you guys still pay that fee
Yeah, nothing
regardless, right?
changed.
So you still pay the buyer's agent fee,
And bonuses.
the
Yeah.
full
So
percent,
this
and
is
you offer bonus incentives too for current inventory, right?
right. So, yeah, so agents can feel secure. They can feel safe coming to at least to us.
Hmm.
Maybe not every builder pays the same. I know builders that it just varies,
Yeah.
but we never deviated from 3%.
Yeah.
Eh,
So I see as the future, and again, this is me with my little crystal ball. I see new construction being going to be very, very favorable in the future. It's brand new construction, so lower insurance costs, which we already discussed. Insurance
That's
is kind
true.
of out of control.
Yeah.
Um,
Better build.
better build. Well, for
Maybe we can better
David
build.
Weekley is a
Yes.
better build,
Yes.
right? There's a lot more
Depends on a builder,
quality and,
100%.
and design that goes into that. So yeah, David Weekley is a great builder for getting your money's worth. And then do you guys do any fixes after the fact of the purchase if needed?
So there is warranty,
Yeah,
right? So there is
warranty,
a 1, 2, and 10-year
builder's
warranty
warranty.
with David Weekley. So the different builders have different warranty scenarios, but we do provide 1 to 10. And the beauty of our warranty, actually, and how we do it is that the buyer knows the warranty rep face
Mhm.
to face. They have their contact. The warranty rep would come visit them in their home after close of escrow, and then they visit again a year after. So that is unique. I don't know another
So it's
builder
like a
that
12
actually
month
does
warranty
that.
on it.
So 12 months would be on workmanship. Then you have 2 years that would be on mechanicals. And then you have 10 years that would be on a structure. You don't have that with a resale unless it's transferable, unless that's how you bought it and the builder
Yeah,
is okay with it.
you can buy
So it depends.
stuff
Yeah.
like that. So theoretically, if I was moving in and I kicked a hole in my wall, I could be like, "Hey, I don't know what happened here, but you guys should probably fix
Um,
this hole."
you don't want to do that.
Oh,
You don't want to do that. That's just my.
we'll see. Whatever. But anyway, I'm so glad that you came on today. I think that again, you have a great product, and I think that the people don't understand like the benefits that can be achieved because everybody, again, just to reiterate, everybody is so hard up on interest rates. And right now you have incentives, which we didn't go into that much, but can potentially buy down the interest rate on a 30-year fix by like 2 full % of what the current market rate is. So
And they don't last. So what we have now is because we just opened up 2 new communities.
yeah,
That's why we have these incentives. They won't last. The moment we start getting sales, mind you, we just had a grand opening last week. This is as early as it gets, right? The moment we have sales coming in, the incentives will be gone.
yeah,
Typically, it is way, way smaller because, like I said, it's about value. It's not about how you can drop the price or how much the builder can give,
yeah.
right? We are building you a great home. So those incentives, one of a kind situation right now, and if you can grab it, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, Ina, it was a pleasure to have you on today. I wish you all the success in the near future, and I know you'll kill it. So,
Thank you.
all right.